So we are here back. Let's together become wiser and create a better world. I had a couple of notes I made recently regarding unemployment and job and how society is needing jobs to function, at least the way we organize society today. In our society, we need jobs for several reasons. And there is a dependency on working, getting an income, and providing for your basic needs. So, as a government, we want people to have a job, and the government is all the time trying to create an equilibrium where they are trying to have enough jobs for everyone to do. And but what is happening in the world is that technology is kind of replacing the jobs, and it is becoming harder and harder for the government to invent new jobs, and sometimes they're even inhibiting mechanization and automation of certain professions or certain jobs because unemployment creates a lot of an unstable society, and this is not something we want. So the government is all the time trying to minimize the unemployment, and they do this by either inventing new jobs or are trying to preserve jobs that are not necessarily relevant anymore or needed. And this creates a lot of problems because imagine you can replace a human being doing something that the machine can do much better, more efficient, less costly in terms of energy, less costly in terms of the materials used because the machine can be much more precise. So it creates a vast range of problems. But I want you to challenge the idea that imagine a society where you don't need to work because this is the direction we are moving in. For many of you guys, maybe it seems like a far-fetched idea and something that is unthinkable because we identify so much with our job. Imagine you spend, let's say, 5 years in law school now, and then you worked 8 years in some law firm. You have a nice car, nice house. You have people that respect you, people that identify you with your profession. You get your validation from your family, from your friends, and now imagine some dude comes along, or some new type of society is being suggested, and you hear about it, and of course you have you reject that because your whole identity is connected with that job. So, but I believe that in the future we will have a very different value system, and we will it will be less important that we work. It's more important that we explore different things, and we will follow much more our intuition, our interest, and contribute in a different type of way. And of course, not all jobs will be optimized or mechanized so quickly, but a lot of those jobs you have today could, in theory, be removed if you look deeper. Let's take some examples. Most jobs today, they are not actually doing anything that is helping the life supporting systems that we need to function. They are not necessarily building a house. Most jobs are not about creating food or producing food, but most jobs are about something else. And the reason for this is because we have been focusing as a society, as a government, to create new jobs all the time. And if you see the development over the 150 last years, over 150 years ago, agriculture was like the main thing you were doing. 75 to 80% of people were working in agriculture. It was standing there, plowing, doing things, working with soil, growing, and harvesting, and was the occupation of 75 to 80% of people. And today it's around 1.5 to 2% of people are working in agriculture, and the rest is mechanization, automation, and you can see like how many jobs were lost there, and we needed to invent new ones. And as technology, as our needs expanded and we found new things we were occupying ourselves with, and new things we needed, new jobs were created. But we are hitting a particular point where all jobs will be in services. And we can ask ourselves the question, why do we need this dependency to work? Like, why do we stick to this old way of thinking that we necessarily have to work, or that there is a dependency in society that you need to work to get money? This creates a lot of stress in society. And you can see how unemployment can create deprivation and problems all over. And as unemployment rises, deprivation will rise. But let's take some examples. Like, for example, you can say a banker or bankers or people that work in the bank, basically selling money, lending money, earning on fees, and so on. This thing could be replaced by blockchain technology very nicely, very easily. And this is something that will happen, but it's a slow process, again, because the banks are not necessarily interested in a technology completely removing that middleman that we have that is called a bank. Now a lot of people lose their job. You can also look at accounting. Imagine if you had a society where all transactions were not like in paper form where you were paying with cash, but everything was a transaction of some kind of like transaction, electronic transaction. You don't need in actuality people working and doing accounting anymore. You have computers and mathematics to solve that problem, and computers can do that much better than a human being. And you will be able to see all transactions between different parties. You will be able to create such things automatically for a company that is using a certain account to pay for certain services and so on. Again, this thing we could also remove from the equation of work. So if we were looking from a different perspective, trying to remove work in society, we will come down to very few amount of people would need to work to support society in a way that is supporting it, so our life supporting systems and so on. Like, if you take people that are working with stocks, they're also just moving money around, not actually contributing anything in terms of life supporting systems. Of course, they are contributing from the context of the market. They are maybe creating jobs, and you can argue in that direction. You can make arguments that they are contributing because they are doing something in the market. They are generating GDP. But in actuality, if you were look from a different perspective, if you look from the physical perspective, are they contributing in terms of sustainability, or sense of productivity, in terms of preserving, improving the production? Are they contributing in terms of minimizing, preserving the habitat? And no, the answer is no. What about marketing? Marketing is there to push products on people. If you would remove marketing, like, how would people, like, imagine how many people are working in marketing or related to marketing or SEO or any kind of like advertisement or branding or commercials and all this stuff. Like, it's a massive bunch of people, and companies are spending tons of money, promoting their product, so people would buy their product. Again, also a lot of resources, a lot of manpower, a lot of jobs are related to this. And in theory, this doesn't need to exist at all, because why would you want to push a product on people if the product was really good and and you would not have that kind of value in society. You could, in theory, remove that. But like as you hear me talk about all those things, you might notice that it would not like it, I'm talking about a very different society than the one we have now. But you can if you use your imagination and you try to take the technologies we have today and try to apply them in different fields, and you go out on the street and look at people like you can see that somebody cleaning the streets, that could probably have been done in a more efficient way. Like we could replace most jobs today. This is my point of this video, and the reason we don't do this is because there's a dependency in society for work, and the government's all the time struggling to create new work, and this creates problems in many different ways. And why are we so obsessed with working? Why are we sticking to this old model? And as the problem grows, and the problem will grow with time, there will need to be a change. And one of those changes could be a universal basic income. But remember, again, this is only a patch on a larger problem, that is how we organize our society. When you are occupying a society with working, like if you create a workforce society and everyone is like spending 8 hours at work, then coming home, a lot of time and resources and energy, mental energy goes into this work, that is keeping you from thinking. So imagine a society where you start automizing more, and you start removing this connection between those two things. Like you would have a society that have much more time for creativity and thinking and exploitation of things by themselves than the way we have today. When you're pushed into school, it is also a way of creating a certain, again, like it's very controversial what I'm saying, a certain type of behavior where you are good in following orders, not asking too many questions, and this is a type you're kind of getting out of the school system. Very controversial for most of you to hear this. The schools were more necessary to create people in this direction, or make people follow orders in this way, because the tasks that we were doing in the past were very different than now, in terms of that it was much more repetitive things, and you needed to organize people in this way. This is what you needed workers. But the problem is now that we don't actually need any workers anymore, like in terms of like physically doing anything. And you need more thinkers. You need to rethink society and in this direction. And I think many people would say that in the service sector we still need people, and we will need them for a very long time, and that that new jobs will be invented, and so on and so on. Well, if you take the service sector today, there is not a lot, but there are some restaurants that are being automized now, completely automized. So there's no waiter in anymore. You go there, you push some buttons, you get the food after some time, and you sit down and you eat with your friends. This is how it functions. So imagine you can apply this technology many other places, and you don't need basically people bringing you food anymore. And you can say that, well, I don't want it like this. I want that somebody brings me food. I like the whole thing with the restaurants and so on and so on. Well, it's your value system. It's your value system. It's how you look on the world. It's something that it's not yours. It has been projected on you, and something that you now identify with in some way. Imagine you're going to a cafe, somebody is making you coffee, but imagine we have the technology today. It's not so hard to imagine. You could automate that process very easily. Coffee being made very, very precise, and with all kinds of milk. It could be almond milk, not being done there, very fresh in the moment. Coffee being served to you instantly. You sit down with your friends. You can, instead of the waiters coming over and serving you now, they could be part of your groups of friends, sitting down with you instead, and sharing this coffee with you, having a nice talk. Like really, like we need to really step back sometimes and look at what we are valuing, because we are attaching too much importance to this work thing. Society will be very different in the future in terms of what we are using or spending our time on, and some of us will contribute directly to the development of society. Some will contribute to the habitat, to science, to exploring our minds, exploring reality, what is life, what is the meaning, philosophy, art, playing around, enjoying life, procrastinating, playing games, things that sound like ridiculous, and especially the playing games on and spending time on nothing. You can say that, but how is this person contributing to society? Why should this person get any food? Well, you know, that is a very big talk in itself. I can surely tell you that why not? Why should this person not have those things? Why not? How is a person that is moving money around, like in terms of buying and selling stocks, contributing to society directly? At least this person, or imagine somebody working in a factory producing something that is harming the environment. Like today, a lot of things are happening like this today. How is that person more valuable than the person not doing anything, playing games and being happy and contributing with positive energy to his environment? I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we, all of us, need to give value all the time. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you look at the billionaires, are they really giving value? Really? Like, if you look out of the context of earning money and providing jobs, if you look a little bit out of this and you try to understand it deeper a little bit, I guess I rambled enough. And if you watched it until now, if I didn't lose you, thank you, and I will see you next week for one more video. Thank you. Bye bye.